guys, this is Tina. Welcome back to my channel. So we are here for another play with our collage scrapbook. So I did a couple more pages after I left you guys. I actually can't remember now which pages we last did, but I think I did these 3 pages you know, since the last video. I love this page. It's probably my favourite page in the whole book. Just I really love those colours and things. And then I did this page as well. So I'm now down to just literally the last 3 pages in the book. So, or the last, you know, 3 sides in the book. So hopefully we'll get those finished off now. And then we can start having a play with the book itself. I mean, probably for me, I'd best do that before I start hoarding the book, because I can see that that may become an issue if I don't actually just get using it instantly. So, yeah, we'll just continue in the same vein that we have been, you know, doing. So I've got obviously more bits and bobs here that we can use. So again, I've got a few things, you know, that I've printed out and then mistakenly printed them double-sided when obviously I was not wanting to print them double-sided. So, you know, again, just things from my scraps. This is a really great way to use them up, you know. And then I no longer have them laying around. So I hope if you've been following along with me, you know, that you've been having fun. I hope it's been proving a nice way to use up some of your bits and pieces as well. Just going to actually tear up a few things, I think, this time, and kind of try that as a sort of potential technique. So here we go. Now, see here, there's like a sort of postage stamp. So I'm just going to have a little rummage through the bits that I've brought along and see if I've got anything that would, you know, not mirror that or anything, but complement that maybe. Not as good as I'd hoped, actually, that. So this is some of my Bellissimo kit, which I'd obviously coffee dyed this yonks ago. And I didn't obviously end up using this when I created the journal, so. Right, my mission here is not to overthink, so I must not go down that route. So I hope everybody is staying well. I hope you're all, you know, managing to keep yourselves busy and, you know, hopefully doing some nice crafting, and, you know, maybe you're following along with this project. If you are, I hope that you're enjoying it and that your book is turning out, you know, as you want, or as you'd like it. I must say I'm having a lot of fun putting all these bits in here, and I'm loving how this book is feeling. It's got a really nice squidgy feel, which was, you know, what I was hoping it would be like. So yeah, I'm quite enjoying that. Oh, why am I being such a ditherer today? I don't know. Just sometimes just that's, you know, I'm more of a ditherer than others. Right, let me stop this. I'm going to just get gluing a couple of pieces before I literally, you know, waste the entire time. I mean, I think maybe because this is not coffee dyed or inked up or anything, that's throwing me a little bit with these particular pieces, these, you know, scanned in pieces. Okay. Because they're not really then, you know, looking necessarily really quite nice against anything because they're not inked up or anything. But, you know, hopefully when I come to use it, I can obviously change their appearance, you know, by inking and what have you. So actually, let's just, maybe we'll do something like that. Perhaps we'll have that there. Again, I wish I was one of these people that could more mix my collage, you know, colour-wise. I wish that I was more free. Oops, actually, let's move that right down and then I go right to the corner of the page. Yeah, I wish that I could be more free with my collaging, because lots of people really do manage to be very free, don't they? And they mix up sort of colours and what have you. And I love how it turns out and how it looks, but for some reason, I can't, you know, can't do that. I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what that's about. But yeah, I'd like to be a little bit more free. But I mean, this is great, great practice. Depending on how this book is to use, you know, which I'm hoping it's going to be awesome to use. I've got a few other ideas that, you know, to maybe do some more of these. Again, obviously it will depend when I come to use it, how fun this is. But yeah, if it's, well, and obviously how much you guys enjoy it, because of course, you know, if no one really enjoys this, then it will be pretty pointless pursuing any other things to do with the books. But I'm hoping that you guys will think this is a really nifty idea as well. So, you know, I mean, it is proving quite helpful with regards to using lots of things from my desk. So, you know, hopefully you guys are having similar success and clearing lots of bits from your desks also. Well, if you need to. I mean, of course, if your desks are not in a tip in the first place, then maybe you don't need to actually clear anything. But I mean, it's not just the bits from my desk, but as I say, I mean, this piece, I had just had a few sheets of things that I had mistakenly printed double-sided, you know, like, I mean 2 years ago or something, and they've just been sat like in a sort of folder, wondering now what to use them for, because they're not, you know, they're not suitable really for many things because they're double-sided. So this is just perfect for using up some of those things, you know, which is really, really great. Let's just have a look. Perhaps I'll have that like that. Actually, I'm thinking maybe I will have this one. So, what have we been up to? I mean, obviously, life is, you know, limited in what I can be chatting about, really. But, I think I mentioned before, I can't remember now, I've lost track of which videos I might have talked about what things, but I mentioned before that my son, my oldest son, he had requested that we play Monopoly, you know, whilst we're staying in. And I think I talked about it before and said how I'm trying to avoid that. Well, I have finally given in. So the game of Monopoly has now started. Oh, gosh. It's a long one, or it's going to be a long one. Something tells me. So we started it last night and it's now still all over the table, you know, ready for us to come back and resume play again tonight. It was quite nice because my daughter actually, who, you know, I just had low hopes for how she was going to be joining in, to be honest, but actually she's yeah, her and I played as like a little team, you know, and she was quite loving it, you know, because obviously she was in charge of throwing the dice and moving our, you know, piece along the board. So she thought it was quite fun. I mean, I have to say she did obviously tail off after about an hour. And she was then like, oh, well, I'm going to go over here until it's our turn again, you know. But that's fair enough. But yeah, so even she was kind of able to participate much more than I expected, you know. I thought, oh gosh, how's she going to be playing this? She's not going to be enjoying herself at all. But actually she, even she was quite enjoying it. So it was nice. And yeah, I mean, certainly we've got time, haven't we, to be playing it. So let's just have a look. I thought I was going to stick that there, but I've just got this tiny gap there, which is a bit annoying. Oh well, I'll just put this somewhere else instead. I mean, I quite like it there, but I do quite like it, you know, sideways on, I think. So yeah, our very first turn, she landed us in jail. So her first throw of the dice, you know, for our very first turn, I think we landed on like chance or community chest, you know, and we were sent to jail. So that was our very first throw of the dice. So I said to her, whoa, you've landed us in jail now. So, yeah, I thought, oh, I've picked the wrong person to partner up with here. So luckily she seems quite quite good at throwing doubles, because I think like you're allowed 3 turns, aren't you, trying to get a double whilst you're in jail. And it was on our second turn, I think it was, of throwing, that luckily she threw a double and we then were out of jail. So we weren't there for too long. Having said that, everyone else had had quite a few goes by then, because a couple of people had thrown doubles, and so then they'd had other goes and stuff. So of course we were way behind, and they had all bought up half the things on the board by the time that we were back in the game. So yeah, we were then like, oh gosh, there's barely anything left to buy. So of course, you know, as soon as we landed on anything, then we were like, yep, we'd best buy it, best buy that, best buy that. So I think by the time that we finished and sort of, you know, called it quits for the night, I think we owned like 4 of the streets or something, her and I. But I think there's only the waterworks left now, and might be one of the train stations is left. Everything else has been bought up now already. So that's how far behind we were, because we've got like 4 things, and everything else has been bought up. But yeah, everyone thought it was good fun. So, and she obviously thought it was great fun. So am I just going into overthinking mode again? Probably. Let's have a look and see whether we can pop this bit up there. Oops. There goes my glue, tipping over. This is looking like really just bitty and horrible for some reason. Oh, why is that? Why is that? Oh, right. Let's just get some pieces stuck down before I dither around anymore on this. Right. Let's put that bit there, I think. Actually, no. Let's have it there, and then can I fit that bit in there? Just about. Right, okay. Have a bit of a plan now. And we made a cake yesterday as well, my daughter and I. So we made a Victoria sandwich, you know, just nice and basic. However, when we came to make the cake, I obviously didn't check that we had everything we needed. And I knew that, you know, at the beginning of this, because my husband lives on eggs. He absolutely loves eggs. So he has them all the time, like for his breakfast, you know, he has his eggs. I don't particularly eat eggs, you know, occasionally I do, but I mean, I think I've said before, I mainly eat like a vegan type diet. Not always, you know, and I'm not vegan, because I do still have milk in my tea, but, you know, predominantly the food that I eat is mainly vegan. So of course, I mean, I don't know whether there's eggs or not, because I'm not the person using them. So I knew that he'd bought quite a few. And yeah, I mean, like when we have breakfast, he just obviously makes his own eggs, you know, so even when we're all eating together, he's made his own eggs. And the boys, I think I've said before, you know, they like to cook themselves things. So on the whole, they'll make themselves some pasta or whatever. They also, however, are quite partial to eggs. So my daughter and I, you know, started making the cake. We were weighing out the ingredients. And then we came to obviously put in the 4 eggs. And when I came to go to the fridge, there were only 2 eggs left. And of course, you know, we're not going out and about now or anything. So it wasn't like I could just, you know, pop out to the shop and get some more or anything. So I thought, oh, so we just used the 2 eggs that were left. And then I used some milk. I just, you know, I didn't really know what to improvise with. So I just poured some milk in just to sort of wet it slightly further. So we, you know, it looked fine as mixture. I thought, oh, that seems to have worked okay. However, when we obviously then came to cook the cake, when it came out from the oven, it obviously took a bit longer to cook because, of course, it was, you know, kind of wet in the middle. And then when we took it out, one of the cakes, so one was fine, you know, which I was really chuffed that one even was fine, because actually, you know, who knew, you know, they could have both been terrible. But anyway, one was fine, because they were obviously in 2 tins. The other one, was crumbly. I don't know why it resulted in crumbly. You'd kind of expect like maybe stodgy or something. I didn't necessarily expect it to be crumbly, but yeah, it was crumbly. So it was fine. So what we did was the one that wasn't crumbly, so the one from the tin that wasn't crumbly, we just put the jam on, you know, like as per a normal kind of cake. And then we just crumbled the top cake, we just crumbled all over it. So it kind of had like an appearance of, you know, the bottom bit was the cake, then the jam, and then we crumbled the top cake over the top, if you see what I mean. You know, and then when, obviously I then showed it to the rest of the family who weren't aware really of what had gone on. I mean, again, we just laughed and said, well, what do we always say in this family? You know, it's not about the looks, it's just about the taste. So, you know, so long as it still tastes okay, that's good enough, isn't it? So, yeah, luckily it did seem to still taste okay, because certainly by this morning, bearing in mind we'd only made it yesterday, by this morning it's gone. So I didn't have any of it, but obviously everyone else did, so it can't have been that bad, even though it looked a shambles and it had the effect of a crumble really more than a cake. Well, a crumble on the top layer, but not the bottom layer. It obviously still tasted fine because it's all gone today. So yeah, but again, we did laugh. Said, oh, well, this is definitely not one for putting on my channel or anything, is it? So, you know, the Victoria sandwich crumble cake would be like a whole new cake. that we'd just come up with. But at least, you know, it was something a little bit fun to do, wasn't it? So I'm going to actually bin this piece, I think, because I'm not going to use it on here. And, you know, let's just be rigid and get rid of some stuff. So I'm just having a look. I've also got a couple more of the pieces that I've had for ages, you know, that have been printed double-sided. So I might just take, I don't know whether that's a bit yellow. Hold on. Ah, here we go. Just tear this one down. Yeah, I mean, I went through a phase where I used to really bake a lot of cakes, and I don't really do much baking anymore. So, you know, that was kind of fun to do. Oh gosh, now look, I've torn that too small. Oh, let me just try and do another one. Right. Just going to tear that down there a bit. So let's have that there. And that one there, I think. And we're going to have that there. And then this one, I'll just pop in here, I think. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so when I do kind of do baking, you know, more lately, not more lately, but, you know, kind of in recent times, I do tend to just kind of do a Victoria sandwich every now and then, you know, for the kids, really. And so just before the lockdown, you know, a few weeks ago, my son said about, you know, oh, you haven't made a cake for a while, Mum, you know. I said, oh, no, you know, I haven't. So he said, oh, you know, I'd really like a cake this week. So I said, oh, okay, you know, I'll quickly make one at some point during the week. And he said to me, oh, can you make something different this time? Like something, you know, like a coffee and walnut or something. Not just those Victoria sandwiches that you just, you know, knock up in like 10 minutes. Because, I mean, they're just like dead easy, aren't they? The Victoria sandwiches, because they're just like an all-in-one. You just chuck everything in. So, yeah, he's on to me, obviously. He was like, oh, not one of them that just takes you 10 minutes to just knock it up. So I said, oh, okay. So I did make a, you know, coffee and walnut cake that week. I mean, to be fair, they don't take a lot longer to make, do they? But they're a bit more of a faff because you obviously have to, you know, chop the nuts up and all that type of stuff. So, yeah, although they don't really kind of take much longer, they're just a little bit more mucking about, aren't they? But it just made me laugh because he was just like, not one of those Victoria sandwiches that you just think, you know, oh, I'm just going to quickly do this. So it's like, oh, how fussy can you get? My daughter really wanted to make cupcakes. You know, some fairy cakes yesterday rather than a big cake. But to be honest, I just thought, well, they will just sit there. She only really wanted to make the fairy cakes so that she could obviously decorate them. And I think I've talked about this before. Her version of decorating just makes them completely revolting looking for anyone else to want to actually eat. So, yeah, I just thought, well, they're just going to sit there. And obviously then, you know, discovered the shortage of eggs. We should have made the fairy cakes because we would have then had the right amount of eggs, just the two. for the recipe that we've got for fairy cakes anyway. But anyway, once we've done a shop, obviously we will have more eggs, so we will then make another cake. Well, another cake and maybe some fairy cakes, but yeah, for the time being, we're obviously now on sort of ration stations with the eggs. Well, not ration stations, we've got none. So, yeah. Okay, just trim that around just to make that page look a bit tidier. Okie dokie, and I'll just trim it down on this side. I think everyone was going a bit stir crazy yesterday. It had just got to that point where, you know, everyone was like hostile by sort of tea time. So yeah, my son then went out for his bit of daily exercise he hadn't done so far. I went for another bike ride during the day yesterday. Yeah, so anyway, he came back a little bit better after his walk, and then my other son, he also had gone out for a walk, so he came back a bit better as well. And then we all kind of calmly sat down and just said, look, you know, this is obviously difficult for everybody, but I mean, to be fair, it's not much of a sacrifice, is it, really? Just having to stay in, you know, watching TV and stuff. I mean, it's not much of a hardship, really. So I'm sure we can just man up and do it. Right, so that's that page, and we'll just do the other two. Okay, guys, so we're on the home stretch now. We've just got 2 more pages to do. So I'm just sort of trying to make sure that this is fitting in the screen. I might have to just drag my camera out a little bit. Okay, hopefully that's all visible now. Just need to move a couple of things out of the way on the desk so that, oops, now it's not visible up the top. Right, okay. So again, just got a bunch of stuff that I've just, you know, dragged out. So I did find some scraps of that gorgeous Hyde Park papers. So thought let's go for some of those, and they'd go quite nice with this actually. Okay, right, let's just get cracking on here. Yeah, I hope that you guys are having a nice time doing, you know, one of these, if you're doing one. I've certainly found it fun, and you know, it's whiled away a few hours, so yeah, it's been good. And you know, definitely, I mean, good thing for getting rid of quite a bunch of scraps, to be honest. So, you know, as we said before, if you don't have this type of book, you know, and obviously at the moment you're possibly not able to go out, or you know, probably not able to go out and get them, or get something similar. I mean, you know, just a magazine, or what am I doing here? Just a magazine, or maybe like an old cookbook or something like that would be just as good, I think. So, you know, doesn't have to be this type of book. Oops. I just happened to, you know, have these books from my daughter, and I just thought, what a brilliant way to use them up. You know, and not just be binning them. So, but just use whatever you've got to hand, basically. And as I say, I mean, even if you used a smaller book, you know, that would be fine. I mean, for me, I just thought this was great because obviously it's quite big, so you can do, you know, big pages of collage which then obviously you can use in multiple ways. And it was quite thin, as in big pages, but quite scarce on the number of pages, if you see what I mean. So I just thought that was kind of a perfect option for this kind of project. But yeah, just use what, you know, whatever you've got. Doesn't have to be the same as what I'm using. Is that just going to be like ginormous on there? Oh well. Oh well, let's just do that anyway. Yeah, I think probably what I'm going to do is get cracking on using this book straight away, because to be honest, I know, just really weird behaviour, but I'm really liking it. So there's like a sort of tendency for me to now hoard the book. Why? I have no idea. You know, that's just not really normal behaviour, I realise, but yeah. For me, there would be a tendency to try and now hoard this book. So I think for me to just avoid that situation, just get using it straight away. But I mean, I do think it would be really handy, like, I mean, again, like we talked about in previous videos, not that anyone's going sort of away on holiday or anything at the moment, but, you know, when life does eventually return to normal, I just think this would be a brilliant travel thing, because everything's just contained in that one book, you know, and you could just literally take a little pouch of ephemera and you know, just use it with the book. So I think it's definitely, you know, got a really versatile use there. And the same as, you know, doing like TV crafts and things, I just think it would be great, because again, you could just literally take your glue, take your scissors, take your book, and then your little pouch of, you know, topper type pieces, you know, center pieces, or I don't know what you'd describe them as, but you know, the pieces that you would put on top, and then you know, you're ready to go, aren't you, with very little supplies needed. Okay. I mean, for me as well, I just think this is a good one for, you know, those days where you're like completely at a loss for what to do, which, you know, I think we all get those days, don't we, where we're like, oh, nothing's coming to mind, got no ideas coming into my mind. This again would be, you know, you can flick through the book and maybe feel a little bit inspired by just one of the pages, be it the colours sort of suddenly grab you, or, you know, something like that, and then hopefully, you know, away you go and be able to get crafting. Okay. So I'm looking out. It's lovely blue skies again so far today. I mean, I always say so far because, of course, you know, it maybe won't stay that way. But at the moment, it's lovely blue skies. It's been chilly though. When I went on the bike ride yesterday, it was really chilly, I have to say. Yeah, very, very chilly. And again, sometimes, you know, like when you're indoors, you don't realise how cold it is, do you? Because you know, you're kind of cozy indoors and you look out at the blue skies and think it's going to be lovely, and you get a bit lulled into a false sense of security, don't you? And when you go out, it's a bit of a shock how cold it actually is. So I might do another like FaceTime with my mum and dad and my sisters today, because I think I said that we did one last week, you know, like all together, where we all sat down with a cup of tea and, you know, had a catch up. So that was really nice to do. So yeah, I might see if everyone's free later on today. I mean, I doubt they're really doing a lot else, but you know, having said that, I mean, I am obviously doing this, so it's not right to just assume that they're doing nothing. But you know, having said that, they don't have a channel or anything, so they're not filming. But yeah, I might just see if they're free and do one of our little FaceTime get-togethers. I mean, again, isn't technology just awesome? You know, the fact that we can all do things like that and keep in contact in that way, it's just lovely, isn't it? Not sure whether I'm liking that. Don't really like the straight edges, but maybe have glued that down a bit much that I can't really tuck under there now. Can I get under there? Not really. Not really. Just putting it up a bit more. Oops. See, now I just have this weird situation going on here. And again, this is exactly the type of thing that I'm saying. I mean, I never see like Rachel peeling up a bit of her collage and mucking about like that. You know, why? Why am I having to do that? Don't know. Don't know why. Now thinking, how about if we had that like that instead? Maybe that would be better. Just tear that down. That's better, isn't it? Okay, so let's just glue that one down. Oh, I can hear the Bing collection going on outside. Again, I mean, I'm not sure what the situation is with that, because I don't know whether it's like a skeleton service that they're running now. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny how all these things just have such a knock-on effect on each other, because you know, like when you start thinking about who's an essential worker, I mean, actually there's so many essential services and workers and things, aren't there? And you know, we just take everything for granted so much as a sort of society, that it's only in a situation like this that you sort of stand back and think, oh, well, actually that's essential. Oh, that's essential. That's essential. And actually, pretty much most things, you know, or certainly a huge percentage of things, fall into an essential category, don't they? It's quite scary, I think. You know, how much we take stuff for granted. Just checking whether I might prefer to have a taller piece up here. So thinking if I just tear that off there. Like that. Okay, so that looks better. And then in here, I would just put in a little bit more of the book page, I think. Like that. Yay! Okay, I like that. Again, I mean, this is my type of colours. I love green. I know I've said that tons of times. You're probably all sick of hearing me say it, in fact, but I really do. I really do love green. So this just looks really, you know, pretty with the greens, I think. I love this colour as well, this emerald green. Emerald green? Jade green? I don't know. Anyway, really gorgeous shade of green, which I just really do love. Okay. Let's just pop that down here. And that one there. We've been watching a thing called The Stranger. Again, apologise if I'm repeating myself. Yeah, it's a Netflix thing. And I think we're like episode 3. We've just finished episode 3 last night. It's quite good. Quite twisty-turny, you know, like everyone's connected with everybody. You know, like when you suddenly see someone who they're married to, or, you know, it's like, oh, they're them, you know, that kind of one. And it says it's based on a Harlan Coben, you know, adapted from a Harlan Coben book. I love Harlan Coben books, and I feel like I have read The Stranger. But, you know, like, I mean, it was probably years ago that I read it, to be fair, and my memory is shocking anyway, but I have read a lot of his books, and particularly if it was an older one, I'm sure I probably have read it. But nothing's, you know, coming to mind so far. I'm not sort of remembering anything from the book. Of course, it has been adapted from the book, but yeah, I mean, so far I'm not really remembering anything. Right, so there's another page done. Love how that page came out, and I'm just going to again trim around the edge there, which will straight away, you know, tidy it up and just make it look, you know, less like a scrap of paper and more like a sort of cohesive finished piece. So we'll just trim around like that. Okay. Trim that down. Okay, and just trim on this side now. And then we're on the last page. So, you know, to be fair, it didn't actually take very long to do all of those pages. And that's another strange thing, is I don't think I've ever actually done like a collage in portrait. For some reason, I've always kind of done them landscape. I don't know why, but for some reason I have. So that's that one. Just checking that I'm in frame and filming. Yeah, that's that one. So, I mean, they're all looking really different, you know. So again, you know, for that time where you're lacking inspiration, or, you know, your mojo's a bit lacking, I just think this would be really inspirational, because you'd just flick through and, you know, if you were feeling, I don't know, a bit of a mellow feel, maybe you'd go for something like this, or, you know, if you were feeling kind of, you needed some calm, maybe you'd go for something like that. This, I think, it just has a gorgeous feel. I mean, still, I think that's my favourite page, although I am really loving this one. So, yeah, let's just do the last page, and then in the next video, hopefully we can do some playing around with this and see then, you know, how you would use your collage scrapbook. So I might just mix in these, just because I've got these 2 bits left, and maybe this one as well. And obviously my mission is to try and get as much stuff off of my desk as I can. Again, this is one of those scanned pieces that I sort of by accidentally then printed on 2 sides, you know, double-sided. So it's quite good to be able to use that up as well. Again, I've got this side. For me, I probably will struggle to use this because I feel like the red doesn't really blend in. But, you know, maybe I should just push my boundaries a bit and come out of my comfort zone and try and incorporate it somehow. I don't know. Let's just tear it out and see, and then you know, we might be able to incorporate that, and that will be a whole nother piece gone from. I mean, these bits, to be fair, these weren't on my desk, but certainly from my piles that I've had for like ever. Now, what else have I got left over from the book? I have got that. No, for me that doesn't really kind of work on there. What else have I got? I've got this. That doesn't really work for me either. And then I have got these, which I really do love, but again, I'm thinking, would they be better, you know, as like toppers for some of these? Maybe they would. Maybe they would. So let's just, I've got that. It's got this here. That one. Yeah, I would struggle to obviously now tie pink in with that. I have got this one. Oops, actually, what have I got here? See, just lots of little scrappy pieces. So, right, let's just, again, just get sticking some bits down before we, or me, before I dilly-dally too much around. So, do you know, I might just pop that there straight in the middle again. So just pop that one down. It would be quite nice to finish on a sort of eclectic page, wouldn't it? You know, on the last page. So there we go. Pop that one down. Should we just have that there? Or there, actually, I think. Just let's pop that one down there. I'm just trying to just go for this now, so you know, really my mission, not overthink at all. I know I've said that throughout the whole book and clearly failed miserably most of the time, but yeah, I'm really determined this time. So let's just go for all of these bits and pieces like that. Okay, just pop that one down there. You see, I have been really good and not overthought so far, but something tells me I'm going to start failing in a moment. Okay, shall we have that there? Or shall we have it here? Oh, it's happening already. The overthinking's coming in now. It was only going to last so long, wasn't it? Right, let me just get rid of that white, like inner core there. And we can just pop that one there. And again, I'm just going to tear that down so as I didn't have a straight edge. Which again, you know, I have not really done collage-y things with straight edges. Obviously, I have got the odd piece that is a straight edge, you know, mixed into this book even. But again, I do notice that Rachel, she uses her tear ruler. So I think like all of her pieces pretty much would have like a straight edge, which looks great, doesn't it? You know, but for some reason I just always tear them. So maybe that's another thing to play around with, is just mixing up the edges. I wonder if we could just have this piece up here. Don't start overthinking now. Come on. I was doing so well, and now it's just deteriorating, isn't it? Now, I pulled out these blue pieces because I thought, shall I really be adventurous and mix in some blue? I'm not sure that I can pull that off. Got to be honest. But, you know, it would be fun to do something like that, wouldn't it? On this, the last page, at least. So, that's just like probably too many mixes there. What if I had that? Oh, now that's quite nice, oddly enough. It's just one of those things that I would never have like ordinarily put there, but strangely I don't mind it. Let's go for that and put that there. And actually this also has a straight edge, which is going to be at the top, so just go along the edge of the page a bit to help that stick along the bottom. Okay, that's that there. And then we have this one here. Not sure now. Is it getting a bit like, whoa there, what's going on? I think that works a bit better for me for some reason. And have that up there. I wish I had some more of this left, but unfortunately I don't have any more of that. It literally was like a little tiny scrap. I mean, I could always print some more, but I don't have any more of that. Just having another little rummage through my little pile here, just to see what else I have here. Got one or two more of those book pages. I'll just tear this one down and see. I thought that green might look really nice against that one, but actually it just didn't really, did it? Just didn't really work too well. This is, yeah, gone into like overthinking and dragging my feet now. No, not that one. That was just wrong, wasn't it, there? So definitely not that one. Right. Did we say no to that? I think we said no to that, didn't we? Let's get rid of that. I've got some more book page. And I've got this, which again has got sort of blues in it. And I have got beside me, I've got some more of that blue paper. It's a complete sheet, but again, it's just been there, you know, like for a long time. So I've actually got two sheets. So we could incorporate these. I mean, actually this one, look, that's a proper sort of scrappy type bit because it was obviously a sort of misprinted piece. Oh, why can't I now get this to work? I've gone into overthinking. Right, I'm going to take this one instead, the one that I wasn't intending on using. don't think I like that green after all. So let's get rid of the green. Let's have that there. Again, I wish that I'd not really stuck that down. Right, let's pop that there. And then have this, I think, here. So I just need to take that down so as it sort of fits better with the fold of that page. Like that, okay. Then we can have that there. That there. Okay, is it time to start sticking some pieces on? Right, let's pop this down. It's funny because you kind of like think, oh, I'm getting a bit better. And then come to do the next page and it's worse again. Okay, that's that one. I'm going to just pop this one down here. And actually I'm not going to stick right to the edge just in case I want to sort of slip something underneath there. Because that obviously then is a mistake, trying to then peel them up. Oops. I'll just pop that one like that. Okie dokie, and then right, what do we think if I had that there? That there. Maybe that there. Yeah, I quite like that. So then I've got those areas then left to do. So let's just again commit to those and go for it. Well, I have to say my pile on my desk is still looking pretty good, pretty huge. But having said that, I have obviously pulled in, you know, some extra bits. So although the pile on my desk is still quite large, I have got rid of some other bits that obviously had been lingering around me, if you see what I mean. So not just on my desk, but the pieces that have been surrounding me, which again I've managed to use now. So even though my desk is still quite full, you know, that's okay because I have actually used up a few bits that were sort of around me, that have been around me for some time. Right, does that fit there and to there? Kind of. Again, I mean, once you come to use these, you're going to probably stick things over, which would cover up any gaps and stuff anyway, wouldn't they? Again, I never hear Rachel say things like that, you know. Is that just me? I don't hear Rachel ever kind of talking about having to bodge it up and cover bits up. Now this is annoying because I've now not got any of this green paper left. Again, I mean, I could just go and print some, but of course that's not really in the spirit of using up stuff, is it? I'd rather not do that, really. Okay, I'm going to do that, I think, there. So that's just that gap filled in. Oops, I should really just go down that slight edge of that page so that it's nicely stuck. Okay. And then I'm going to pop that flower there. I like how that looks. Okie dokie. Just again go down the edge of that page so it's, you know, well stuck on. Pop that down. Like that. And actually that's good because that covered up that little teeny gap that I had there. So we've got that one. Now it would be quite good to have a little bit of this red here because then that just ties that in. Let's just see what else I've got laying around. Oh, what have I got here? I've got some more of that book page. Oh, so I've got some more of that book page with the stamp on, which we used a couple of videos back, so could have that maybe. Let's just try that there. So if I move this up slightly. Oops, come on. Right, so we could have that like that, or is that a bit colourless then over there? Maybe. Maybe. Maybe I'm not really liking that red. Thought it would be nice because I thought it would tie in the red from the bottom, but to be honest, maybe that doesn't really have a place there. So just bear with me for a moment. Just going to see what else I've got here. So of course I've got some more of my like mist scans. So again, let me just, well, they're not mist scans, but you know, they're where I've scanned them in and then printed them double-sided by mistake. So it's good to use stuff up, isn't it, like that, and not waste it. So if we pop that there, just thinking, could we have that one there? And then perhaps I'll just pop a bit more blue in this corner. Yeah, so I'm going to stick the book stamp page first, or stamp book page, stamp book page, isn't it? Yeah. Obviously losing my ability to speak now. Okay, let's shift that along a bit, and then we're going to have this here. And I mean, again, obviously this looks a bit strange probably, but don't forget, you know, when we come to use this, I would probably ink these bits up. So any that maybe don't particularly blend in, once they're inked, then hopefully they will blend in. You know, because the ink really kind of makes a big difference to tying everything together. Right, let's just pop this one down. Like that. Okay. Oops. Pop that down. Like that. And then the final piece is going to be here. Sadly, that one is slightly too small. So again, no, don't want that. Just check that I don't want this bit of text here, because this might be a bit colourless, to be honest, but oops, it might be a bit small now. Might be a bit on the small side now that I tore it in that shoddy way, but I mean, that is quite colourless, isn't it, to be honest. Oh. It is quite colourless, but weirdly I don't mind it. Now obviously I did a bit of shoddy tearing here, so I'd have to quickly fill that bit in. So let me just have a look. I'll just tear that down. Just wondering whether I could just fill it in maybe with something else. So if I have that there, for instance, and then that, it just fills that in then. So I'm just going to do that. Again, more of the techniques that I never really see other people have to fill in their bits, but I guess it's all good, isn't it? I mean, I always think so long as it looks okay in the end, you know. What do me and the kids say? It's not about the looks, it's about the taste. So in crafting, it's not about your methods, it's about the finished piece. So as long as the finished piece looks okay, that's good enough, isn't it? You know, it doesn't really matter how you got there. So long as you had a nice time doing it and the finished piece looks all right, that's good enough, isn't it? Okay, so we just pop that on down like that. Okay, right. So I do have this big colourless section here, which is like really unusual for me, to have a colourless kind of area, but yeah, I quite like that page. So again, let me just trim it round the edge. I mean, just by trimming it up just makes it look so different. You know, like we kind of say, it takes it from looking like a piece of sort of a junky thing, you know, of scraps of paper stuck together, to a much more cohesive, you know, sheet of paper, I suppose, or base, you know, for your projects. So let me just, oops, just bin in those little scrappy pieces, and then this one here. Okie dokie. Okay, oops. Oh, come on. Right, okay. Oops, just tidy up that bit. Right, okay. So that is our book completely finished, and it's got a lovely squidgy feel. It's very interesting to look through, and you know, hopefully would be very inspirational, you know, on days where you just need a little bit of an injection of inspiration. So I hope that you had fun making your collage scrapbook, and I hope that you will join me for some ideas as to how to use your collage scrapbook. So yeah, I hope that you had fun and you'll join me next time. So thanks very much then. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.